So actually today we are gonna like speak with one of my students who just successfully relocated to Bulgaria for his studies. And but I guess the interesting part of this whole video is that like a few months ago you had like issues. You had like you were not even sure whether you're gonna like make it, whether you're gonna make it or not. You're like, hopeful whether it's gonna be possible. You are contemplating maybe this guy that I saw online, whether he's gonna be legit or not. A lot of questions. I know that a lot of questions you are actually going through your mind. And but here today in this conversation, we are going to like break down everything exactly how he did it and the challenges that probably you faced. You're gonna share your challenges with us and what you need to know if other students actually need to know if they plan to study abroad, especially in Bulgaria. Okay, so quick one, could you introduce yourself and tell us where you're joining us from today?
Okay. Thank you for having me actually.
Mhm.
So my name is Ofo David Igwe, and
Mhm.
of course currently I'm in Bulgaria, and I'm a Nigerian if that matters actually.
Okay, so you're in
And
Nigeria and currently you are in Bulgaria, right?
yeah, exactly,
So before you
exactly.
started this process, right, what was your biggest fear or maybe doubt about studying in Bulgaria?
Um, okay. So I don't know. I when I had this whole idea of study in Europe and all of that stuff, I have to admit that Bulgaria never even came to my mind. Like I never thought about the country. But then, the more I research, the more because I have to say I wanted a EU country, I wanted a Schengen zone, I wanted a Schengen zone, country in the Schengen zone rather.
Mhm.
And then Bulgaria popped up actually. So I said, let me look it up and see what happens. But I was thinking, one of the challenges I had with, thinking about Bulgaria and all was, it's in Eastern Europe. And I'm thinking, does it work? How many Nigerians are there? How many African studies there? How many,
Okay.
how am I going to be there and all of that stuff? That was just
Mhm.
what I was thinking.
Mhm.
But then when I realized that, okay, it's in the Schengen zone, which I wanted, it's in Europe, in the European Union, which I wanted, I said, okay, let me just go. Let me go and see what is happening there. And then it feels good to know that I met other Nigerians online who are already in Bulgaria. And I felt, okay, Nigerians are there. Then, of course, I can do it.
Okay. Okay. So let's be honest. Would you be honest with me? At a point, did you ever feel like it might not work out?
Yeah, it's not like I felt that not at a point, but at many points.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially when the admission delayed. We had
Yeah,
like delay in
especially
admission
that
due
time.
to, yeah, what were your
Especially that time. I felt
expectations?
that many points. So there was a time I was like, okay, you know what? Can we just stop the whole process because it's already getting too late or should I say too far. Are they
Mm,
even like are they ready? Are they talking? Are they doing anything?
mm,
Sincerely, I was discouraged at that length of time. But as something happened though. So when I got here, I realized that I wasn't the only one.
mm.
So most of the students here had that same experience. Then I realized that mine was even shorter compared to others.
Yeah, you were one of the
Somebody
first
waited.
people that got the
Somebody
offers.
applied. Yeah, somebody applied and waited a whole 9 months.
Oh, I have a student that
Yeah,
waited for about over a year. She applied in 2024. She applied sometime in October 2024, and admission came out in January
that
2026.
is how. That is how. I don't know if I should use what crazy it can be. So when I
Yeah,
when I started hearing the stories of others, I felt like it's like I'm lucky. It's like I'm
you were
even
actually
part
lucky.
of.
I
Yeah.
agree with them. You're actually lucky. Yours came like you applied sometime in 2025, right? In maybe May or
December,
June 2025, and yours came out in December.
December, yeah,
Yeah.
2025,
So
yes.
November, December of 2025, that's when it came out. So you were one of the first group of people that their offer came out. So you were so
Well,
lucky.
I don't get lucky often, but at least this one I got it first.
You really got lucky. I was even shocked because there were people that I submitted their application like long time ago, and I was like, why are they not doing this in sequence? Why are you just so lucky? Okay, so out of all the countries available, why did you choose Bulgaria?
Okay, Bulgaria. I think that question is pretty straightforward actually. For
Mhm.
one reason, I have to admit,
Okay,
the cost of studying in Bulgaria
the
compared to the
cost.
cost of studying the cost. The cost compared to studying in every other part of Europe.
Mhm.
That are, I mean, let me not even Europe now. Every other part of the European countries in the European Union and in the Schengen zone.
Okay.
So currently, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bulgaria is the cheapest. The cheapest
option.
currently. I don't think they said even Romania is quite more expensive compared to Bulgaria. So it was the so at the time I was looking for the cheapest school in the European Union and the Schengen zone. So when I got Bulgaria, I said, okay, I think I can afford this. So you don't want to so when you talk about the expenses, you don't want to go to countries in the Central and Western Europe. They are quite expensive. So Bulgaria is within my budget, and I felt like, okay, I can do this. Let me start. So that was the motivation. The cost.
Especially the semester payment structure, the payment structure, and the visa
Exactly.
requirements as well. So
Exactly.
everything.
And the good thing about the semester payment is that when you get here, you don't have to pay once for a semester. You can pay as far as 4 or 5 times for a semester.
Installments. You
So
pay in installments.
yeah, you pay by installment, exactly.
So it's actually like easy for you to obtain it. Like you keep paying this like a spread out payment that makes it easy for you, for the student to be able to afford it. Okay. Okay, great. So now I would like you to walk us down the entire process from when you decided to apply up to, when you got your visa. Could you tell us how everything happened? How you decided to reach out to General Minds? What made you to even decide to reach out to us in the first place?
I'm just okay, I'd like to start from there. Yeah, I'd like to start from there. So when I decided actually, so when I was making my research about the cheapest country to study, and so what I do back then was when I get a country, the first thing I do is to run to YouTube. So I run to YouTube to see if there's any video on YouTube with the students in that country, if there's somebody, an agent in the country, something like that. So I was looking up for Bulgaria, for video on Bulgaria. And honestly, back then, I don't know about now, there was not much videos, about Bulgaria online. So but I think I got yours. And I was like, okay, let me check. And it wasn't just the video you did, it was like a live section of a student or something like that. I've forgotten. Something like that.
Yeah,
so
I guess I did some sessions.
Yeah, it was a live session. So I watched the video for about an hour, more than an hour, I suppose. So after watching the video, I felt like, okay, let me check this out. And then I don't say this often. Look, I told somebody yesterday, I was a friend yesterday, and I said why I met my agent online because I love to be referred to somebody or to refer somebody to me, rather. So when you refer somebody to me, I felt like, okay, you found this person, you can trust this person, so let me just go with this person. So I think you're the first person I was working with that nobody referred to me.
Oh wow!
Yes, that's the first time. So the attention. So you got my attention when I watched your video, and there was a way you explained the whole process. And then after there was a calmness in your voice that made me feel like, okay, I can trust this person. You know what they say about appearance and all stuff like that. So there's a calmness in which you were explaining the whole process one after the other that made me feel like, okay, I can trust this person. Let me just work with this person. And then that live video of the thing convinced me. And I said, okay, let me reach out. And I reached out, and then I booked a session. And after booking a session, then we had that conversation. And so when I had that conversation with you, trying to look at my budget, look at my plans, look at all of that stuff, I felt like, oh, okay, good. I think I'm in the right place, And then the whole process started. And admission, I think I paid for part of I made part of the payment. Admission started, and when admission started, that's the process, not admission. I mean the process of applying rather. So then I applied. Sorry, I just want to make sure I get all the pictures right because it's been what?
Okay.
8-9 months now.
Yeah, probably like the legalization process.
Yeah, good. Thank you. So we started with that legalization process in Abuja. So when we were done with that, so there was a part, yeah. So I think after that, we now went to the part where I have to send my document to Bulgaria. That part was the part that was very tiring for me, I have to admit. So, so I sent the whole process. Yeah, I sent the whole process. And so when I sent it, I was waiting for them to, say something, So it was not just sending the document, you have to send the document and send payment for the
translation, and application fee.
So when that was happening, I was happy. I felt like, okay, this thing is going fast now. So this is what we hear from me. So I felt like I will hear from them soon, I mean, it's going fast. And then, so when all of that happened, the whole thing got stopped. That's the waiting period.
That's the waiting period, yeah.
So that was the part where I have to sit and wait and ask questions and email. And, it got to a stage, you actually, I think myself and with other students, you had to get us on a video call.
Yeah.
With the director of admission here. I've met the man when I came. I've met him when I came around. So that time you have to get us a video, like so the man had to explain the whole process why it is delaying. It was that moment that I felt like, okay, this thing is still going right.
It's still going right. Yeah, because I started
So,
feeling, I started like, having that feeling that, oh, these guys might be thinking a lot of things. So I needed to boost you guys' confidence, in the process to get you guys to know, like, communicate to you guys that this is still in progress. And you people should just like have wait, have more patience, in the process and trust the whole process that everything is going to work out well. Yeah, I felt
I,
that. I observed that to you.
I couldn't agree more with that what's it called, morale
Mhm,
boosting actually.
mhm,
So because my expectation was down, the morale was completely down. So but after
mhm.
that meeting, after that meeting online, I felt like, okay, this thing is still going. We are still on the track. And I think after waiting for now, let me admit this, I already gave up hope. That's straight.
I know.
So yeah, I have to admit, I have to admit it. So I told my brother, like I told my brother, I have to start looking for other schools now, you know. So and he said, but this one, I said, bro, like I've done this school thing in other countries. It doesn't get this late,
Yeah, it
you know.
doesn't take a
So
lot
I've
of
given up
time.
hope. Yeah, it doesn't take this time. So I said, I've given up hope. I think I was saying that thing after 2 weeks. No, I remember I told you that I should tell them to send back my document,
Yes,
right?
yes, you requested your
So,
document back.
yes, because
And
I was tired at that moment. I
it
was
was after you requested for the document back. I don't think it was up to like 1 week. I think it was like about 2 to 3 days, right?
2 weeks. It
I
was
have
about a
already
week
sent
and
out the
4 days.
email for your document to request your document back when they sent me your offer letter.
Okay. so, so let me explain this. There's a part in that's funny. So when I said, you know what, I'm done. Can I get my document back? Can I get my document back rather? And after less than 2 weeks, I got the admission. I was like, wait, this is far. I don't trust this. That's what I thought.
Ah,
I was like, no, 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 no.
that I made it up.
Yes, I was like, is it because I requested my document? Something like that.
Yeah, it was
So,
a bit suspicious.
yes. So I felt like this can be a coincidence. So, but luckily for me, Bulgaria have a system in their Ministry of Education where you can confirm admission directly.
Mm.
So your admission letter comes with that scan or with that digit
Barcode.
where
It
you
has like a
nominate the
barcode.
applied. Yeah, exactly like a barcode. So I had to go to the direct site, I scan or inserted the code, and it showed that yes, the admission has been confirmed by the Ministry of Education here in Bulgaria. I felt like, God, admission part cleared. It felt good. It felt
It,
just
it,
good. So
yeah,
it felt so good that it felt so good that I stopped everything I was doing. Every other school that I was trying to, that I've been, making research on, I had to stop
mm,
everything. I'm like, okay, I'm cutting this one. Then,
finally.
of course, finally, yeah. Then, of course, I started with you again. We have to go through the visa process. No, we have to pay the school fees first. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I had to rally around and I got the school fees paid, part of the school fees paid. And the next process was the visa process. So you told me to email because that part is funny. So you told me to email the embassy and request for a date. So my intention was that, uh, unlike other countries, right? So where you have to request for a date and then you get 4 or 5 months because the date has been, chosen and all of that stuff.
It's
So
all
I said, let
occupied
me quickly
already.
reply, let me quickly send a message, yeah, to the embassy so that I will get a quick date because I was expecting something around 2 3 months or maybe a month or something like that. So I emailed them and there was a date for me the next 10 days. I was like, nah,
Yeah, I think they gave
this
you
one is too
like
close.
about 19th. I think it was on the 19th of January that they gave you.
Yeah,
And I told you to extend it to like the 26th or
yes.
29th
So
thereabout.
you told me to you told me to write them and tell them that it is too close. So because I need to sort out some papers and all of that stuff. So I wrote them and I told them, you know what, I will be needing like an extra more days. This one is too close. And then they extended
Mm.
it to the 6th of. So I told them that I needed a week in the last month of January. Yeah. So they gave me to the 6th of January. And I said, okay, I can do with this. Then we started with the paperwork. And like I used to admit to everybody, I told my friend here yesterday, I remember telling my brother that if not for you, I have to be sincere about that part. I don't think I was ready for that whole visa process because the documentation, a lot of document went into that actually,
Yeah, actually,
and you were
technically.
yeah, and you were the one sourcing out every document. So when I saw all of that, I felt like, okay, the friend I was with yesterday told me some
Okay.
stuff about his agents that made me. I was like, what? I can't even say that stuff here, but
Mhm.
he told me those stuff. I felt like I have to be the luckiest person ever. Like I had the best agent ever. because some of the things these guys tell me about their agent makes me wonder. Number one, the cost. Okay, let me just talk about the cost part. Our agent actually charged her 2,500 euros. Do you know how crazy that is?
Yeah, okay, I know.
1,500. So,
That's
like, it's I couldn't even imagine that in my head. And then the way the agent, the work she did. Anyway, we're not talking about her, so we just
okay.
carry on with
Let's
this one.
just focus on what we are talking about.
Because I'm just trying to relate it to what I experienced, and it was not even like it was worlds apart, you know.
Mhm.
So then you helped me out with the whole documentation sorting out and all of that stuff, and so and that was why it was easy for me. I have to admit that because I had no idea where do I start from, you know, where do I start
Mhm.
from? So and then beyond that, I think a few days before the interview, you had your own personal interview with me, which lasted about 3 hours, you know.
Yeah,
And
I
all
can
of that
remember
was to make
that.
sure that the papers are accurate, to make sure that I was mentally prepared, to make sure that everything was settled. And of course, there was a check back. We were able to tick all the boxes, and it was like, okay, now we can, move on to the interview process. And I went to Abuja and had the interview, and the interview was quite smooth actually. So, so when I entered the interview room, I think we were probably about 15 that day.
Mhm.
So the chair was like this way. So those seated at the edge started first. So I think they interviewed it was a hall actually. So the interviewers sit somewhere around there, and so you have to, when they call your name, you stand up and move.
Mhm.
So when they interviewed about 7 people, or probably 5 people before me, that was when I knew I could pass it in a bag, you know. Yeah. So
Yeah,
because
because you're
I
already
couldn't,
mentally prepared for it.
yeah, no, yeah, no, because I could hear the question they were asked, you know. No, I couldn't
Mhm.
hear the question actually, but the answers they were providing was easy for me to guess the question they were asked.
And it's
So from
something
the
we have
question, I
already
felt like,
done over time.
so we've gone through this over and over again. There's no need for me to be tense about it. And another thing is that the interview doesn't even last long. The I think because I timed it. So when you stand up to go, I time you. So everybody, the person that lasted much there probably lasted 4 minutes.
Mhm.
So it's not much. You get to be asked 4, 5 questions, 6 at most, you know, and then they tell you, okay, problem, take your picture and all of that stuff. They will reach back to you and stuff like that. So I
Mhm.
think most of the questions you get to be asked is some of the most random question ever, the most common question. What's the school? What are you going to Bulgaria to do? You know, some people will ask, do you have siblings over there in Bulgaria? Do you have families there? How many families do you have in Nigeria? You know, are you being sponsored? Are you sponsoring yourself? Or questions like that, common
Yeah.
questions like that they get to ask you. So they don't ask you anything special that is, you know. So I think they ask you questions that every student who is prepared should naturally be able to answer it.
Yeah, I should be able to answer the question.
Yes. So then, so after the interview, I think I went back home, and then there's a waiting process which lasts for a month. Naturally, I think it should be 26 days, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it lasted
26
for
days.
6 weeks.
6 weeks, forgive me. Yeah, six
Yeah, it's
weeks.
6 weeks, almost, I think 5 weeks plus when you got your feedback.
Yeah, mine came out 5 weeks plus. And okay, so I think that part where you have to wait is the most it is intensive.
I
It
know
is intensive.
it's always intense.
So
Like people are
you
like,
there's
okay,
a lot of things going on in your mind. What
mhm,
are they doing? You have replied me. What are they, you're waiting and you are telling yourself, man, is it going to work? Will I get it? If I don't get this now, how do I, all of that stuff? But luckily for me, I think I remember I was in the kitchen that day,
mhm.
cooking, and I got a call. I got a call first before even the email. So when I picked the call, the number is strange. It wasn't saved in my phone. So when I picked the call, I was like, hi, your visa has been approved. Now I remember the voice. It was the secretary
The
in
secretary,
that
yeah.
embassy. I remember this voice in Abuja. Oh, thank you. Blah blah blah. So he said, yeah, that's it. So at that moment, I was like rushing the whole question. Oh, thank you, thank you. So what do I do now? Blah, blah, blah. She said, don't worry, just calm down. You get email for all the instructions and all of that stuff. I said, okay,
You were
okay,
not
because
thinking.
I wasn't even thinking anymore. I said, okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So when the call ended, I just left what I was cooking in the kitchen, rush upstairs. I was like, bro. I was talking to my brother. Bro, they don't give me this thing. No, they don't give me. They don't give me. I've gotten it, and stuff like that. And you know, that was like that moment, the excitement. So
Mhm.
it felt like I was free. It felt like I was free. So it felt like there's this heavy load on my head that has been, removed. And I was like, okay. So the next thing was for me to send my passport to Abuja to be stamped, and then I paid the visa fee. The visa fee is €150.
Surcharge fee, the visa
Yes,
surcharge fee.
that's surcharge fee. You're right
Yeah,
about that.
you paid the visa fee when you went to apply.
Yeah, exactly. So that was surcharge fee, right? Yeah. So it was 150 euro, and then of course you pay 20 euro for your police character authentication or notarization, something like that. I've forgotten the particular name for it.
Legalization, embassy legalization.
Legalization. So the part is that you have to do a new police character because the old one would have would have expired before you
Oh,
get to
close to
Bulgaria. So
expiration because yeah, it
or
will be
close to
close to
expiration.
expiration because it lasts for 3 months.
Yeah. So you have to do a new one, and then you pay $20 for it to be legalized, and that's pretty much all. And of course, I was in Uyo in Nigeria, so I sent my passport to you. That was your secretary came and picked it up. And of course, I had a problem with, but that's just by the way, the GIG mess. We had to delay the whole thing. So then, so when that was done, she picked it up, and the next thing was for me to book my flight ticket. And I called you. I was like, I don't know what is happening with this whole flight ticket everything. I'm looking for a cheap one. Sorry, I'm looking for a cheap one. And can you, help me out and all of that stuff? Of course, we are always able. We're always ready to help. And he said, okay, you know what? Send me the money. I'll convert it to dollar here. And so, I wanted to do that part where I get a student discount. But I did not give a master student. I don't know what is wrong with Turkish Airlines.
It was actually based on your age. It was age problem, not
Oh,
about masters now.
oh, no.
So they have
Oh,
like a
really?
specific age, yes, that they could give like
Oh,
student discounts to. So if you're above that age, they wouldn't give it to you.
okay. I thought it was because I was a master student. Oh, okay. Well, that's fair though. But that's just by the way. I'm in Bulgaria, so whatever. So I'm in Bulgaria now. So
Mm-hmm.
the flight was booked. I left Nigeria on the second of this month, that's 2nd of April, and through Turkish airline, got to Istanbul on the 3rd of April. And when I got to Istanbul, I had a little problem because my flight was delayed for 2 hours. I think 2 hours,
Yeah, I think it
probably
was
two
2 hours.
hours. Yeah. So from there, anyway, I had to rest when I got to Istanbul. That big airport, I nearly ran him out. I was looking for my
Yeah, I
gate.
was actually telling you that you should be very careful. You should don't miss your
Yeah.
please don't miss
Actually,
your
I was
connecting
planning it.
flight.
How prepared I was. So before then, I went to YouTube to check on those vloggers on how to navigate Istanbul airport. So I was mentally prepared. So the only problem was that when I looked at the screen, so I wasn't seeing my flight. That was the only problem I had. So I didn't know it was like it has been rescheduled. So I was delayed rather, and so I said, you know what? I'll just go to the gate where Sophia, where Sophia passenger should come around. And so when I got there, because I know Sophia is closed, at least they'll tell me whatever is happening. So I got there and it felt like, okay, my flight has been delayed. I have to wait, and then I should check the board after 1 hour. So after 1 hour, and when I checked the board, then I saw my gates, and I said, okay, no problem. This one is cool, and I can rest. So I have to look for the gate. This time around, I wasn't rushing. So I had to gently walk down there and stayed. And when it was time, I flew down here to Vanna, and the rest, that's pretty much all.
Okay,
So,
okay.
and then the good thing is, of course, the school provide accommodation for you that you pay for, and then the school provide an agent that comes to pick you up at the airport, takes you direct to your hostel, and of course, when you are done with all of that, you come to school, they put you through the whole process of settling down, orientation. But the good thing
Mm-hmm.
about me is that when I got here, I got a whole lot of help. So my roommate was like all the help everywhere, anybody we need on it, you know. So I got all the orientation I needed from him, got all the both the street orientation and the school orientation, and so that made my life a bit easier, like more than I imagined. So trying to navigate the whole system. Of course, the system is different from the one we have back home, completely different. In fact, it's a revelation. If you ask me. So a total
Okay.
departure from what we have. So yeah. So
Yeah.
so the moving around, how do I move? What do I do? Where do I get this? And of course, there's a language barrier. How do I navigate the language barrier? My roommate was here to help me through all of that. So I get to settle, and then
Okay.
lecture started, and then of course I'm still trying to navigate the whole process, but that's where I am right now.
That's great. So, thank you very much for your previous explanation. It was quite clear. Now, this brings me to my next question, right? What was your first impression when you arrived in Bulgaria? What was your first impression? What was your culture shock?
Okay. Now, for what it is worth actually, um, so I tend to read a lot. So I've been reading a lot about Europe, and so I wanted to avoid this whole culture shock of a thing. Let me, learn about these people, but it doesn't work that way.
So
It doesn't
now you
work.
can agree with me that there are some certain things nobody can ever explain to your understanding until you experience it.
It doesn't work that way at all. So you have to experience it yourself to
Yes.
see them. So my first impression, actually, back to the question. So my first impression was, so I think we're driving from the airport down to my hostel, and everywhere was a bit calm. And I
Mhm.
was thinking, maybe what is happening here? Why is it here this dull? And
It's
so
very quiet.
the agent at the, yeah, I'm quiet. So the agent at the school actually sent to pick me up, was explaining the whole thing to me. This is city center. Don't worry, it is quite dry now. There's a reason for that. This. While we're driving, I was like, okay. But sincerely, I was tired and wasn't having any of that. Like I was like, please, can you let me just get somewhere and rest?
I want to sleep. Let me just sleep.
Yeah. Because I was messed up in Istanbul. So I was like, let me just get home and rest.
Mhm.
So when I got here, and I rested. So the most of the culture shock that I got was the way things are done here. You
The
know,
system.
it has to be timely. Yeah, the system. So it has to be timely. So I read about that, but I wasn't. I didn't understand it. For instance, now the process where you have to the bus process where you have to take a bus, go to town, come back, or take a bus to anywhere. It has to be timed. You know, if you
Mhm.
if you miss it, you wait for the next one. There's no question about it. So I haven't actually had the other culture shock that I wasn't prepared for. You know, I don't think
Okay.
I've had anything special out. So I mostly though, I have to admit, because for the few time I've been around, Nigerians, I've been
Yeah.
around Nigerians. So that they tend to explain things to me. Oh, this one, now why I do like this one, now why, stuff like that. So because of that, I've not personally encountered anyone. So before I even encounter some, they'll tell me, oh, this one is like this because of this. So I said, okay, good. But maybe as I tend to, I tend to enjoy this city more. I will find out things because I believe that things I sincerely do not know.
There are a lot.
That I've
So
not
you'll
known.
find out with due
Yeah.
time. In due time, you're gonna
Every
like
time
find a lot of things personally that might be shocking to you personally. You're like, why? Like, why do you guys do this? Why do you guys do that? You haven't even tried the food yet, have you? We have not. Oh, that means you're yet to like experience a lot of shock.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now looking at where you are right now, how has that this move changed your life so far? Like migrating to Bulgaria, how has it changed your life so far?
Okay. That's I think that's a tough question. I wouldn't say tough actually, but I would say that's quite a challenging question actually.
I'd
So
say it's an
here's
interesting question.
an interesting one. Everybody black or better or interesting is one better. So um and let me say that I'm in a happy place actually right
Okay. So right now, let's say you are just excited about
now. So,
the
yeah,
whole
so so
stuff. So
yeah,
probably I
so
will
I,
have to hold on and ask you this question maybe after like 6 months or one
so
year.
because
Maybe we're gonna have like a part
at
two
this
of this.
moment,
When I'm gonna ask you this question after like one year, I think you have a better answer to this. But before,
definitely
like, do you think that this move really worth it?
100%. I mean, I don't want to tell you what I was doing back home.
Okay, don't say it.
So 100% actually, 100%.
Okay, if somebody right now is watching this, let's assume that, we hope that a lot of people are going to watch this, right now, and they are actually scared of starting this process, this, migrating, taking this lead, right? What would you tell them? What would be your advice to them?
Okay, pretty simple actually.
Mhm.
And the reason is because so I've been where they used to be, or should I say where they are right now, rather.
Okay.
And yeah, so I've been in that part where I'm thinking, okay, should I start now? What do I do? Where do I go from here? So if somebody's watching this and they are wondering where do they start from, I'd say you start, especially if you've probably, you've thought it out, you want to travel, you're choosing Bulgaria or any other country you want to choose, whatever it is, and you want to start. I'll say start. And then another thing is, so when you start, um, you see that part where you have to wait, please wait, you know, because sincerely, if you're watching this, that part is going to be difficult for you because it
Mhm.
was for me. So it's going to be difficult for you, but it is part of the process. So
Mhm.
wait for that part. But please start now that you can. And there's a lot of reasons why if you start now that you can. So I noticed that in Bulgaria, a lot of most Nigerians, or should I say most outsiders, Africans, let me put it that way, do not are not aware of Bulgaria as a study route, like like we have in the UK, Canada,
It's
Australia,
not like a
Netherlands.
popular travel
Yeah,
destination.
yeah. Most
It's not
people do
like so
not know
popular
about
yet.
it. Exactly. So most people do not know about here. So and believe me, most people know now.
Mhm.
They know
Okay.
now. Yeah, they know
Okay.
now.
Okay. And what mistakes should people really avoid when applying? Like, what are the mistakes you think that people should really avoid when they're applying?
Okay, so here's the thing that I used to think that
Mm,
works for me, but the truth is, it actually doesn't always work that way. If you want to apply, yeah, and you are a novice to this whole process, please use an agent.
okay.
Just use the right one. You know, I used to think, yes, I used to think I'll research about. So when I did other countries, actually, I did it myself. So I used to think I'll research about it out. But Bulgaria, yeah, please use an agent.
Yeah.
And just use the right one. Not use an agent, but use the right agent. Okay, let me say it. I don't want it to be like use Gemini My Consult. I've used it actually. Yeah, so I don't be like I'm marketing for you, but please use Gemini My Consult.
No,
I've
no,
used it, and I
it's not
tell
like
you.
you're marketing, right? But when you say use the right agent,
No, but I've experienced it. Yeah, so I told you that time I love to be referred or somebody refers someone to me. So
okay.
it's always easier. So I told my brother when you what it means for someone to hold your hand every step of the way. That is what I experienced with Gemini Mind Consult. You see, every step
Mhm.
of the way. So there was nothing like when you ask questions, your questions are answered. You know, there's high level of transparency for every process. So use Gemini Mind Console, please. Let's just because I experienced it and I can tell you for a fact
Yeah.
that especially when I started hearing stories of others and what they have to go through with their agent, I was like, wait, I'm not experiencing this thing. So mine was straightforward. So, but the only part is that waiting part. So please wait, be patient and wait. I have
Be
friends who are
patient
still
and
even
wait.
waiting. You know?
One thing I really liked about your process, your entire process is that you I I actually at a point I figured that this is not your first time applying to anything. This wasn't your first time. I didn't ask you that, but I know, right? Because you were following instructions. Like I have actually had some students like, someone once told me that why is it that you are not always active, like maybe on platform, on social media platform, posting a lot. I'm like, I'm a busy person, right? I don't really have time to like post, but if you reach out, I'm going to like attend to you. But here is the thing with your application, right? You followed instructions. I wouldn't like say it otherwise. There is this pattern that I'm always saying. You see, there are people that are always more like, do this, and they will look for alternative, like, oh, why should I do this? It's difficult, or is there no other way we should do it? I'm like, but in your case, if I should say, do this is what we need to do. You're like, let's use the best option, right? And the more you use alternatives, the more you're reducing your probability of getting your
That's
visa.
fact.
And would there
That's
be other
fact.
options? Yes, there will be other options, but it might actually affect your application. But in your situation, you're like, do what you need to do. And these are the kind of students that I love. I really love like this kind of there are students that you meet that want to tell you how they want it. And like I always say, do what is obtainable. Don't do what you want. I can advise you like this is what is obtainable. This is what we can actually get right now. But if you start telling me, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want, well, probably there should be an option. But how will the option favor you, right? So in your case, I really would say that you really followed the instruction and it made the whole process easy. And everybody got what they wanted. You got your success. We got everything. It made it so simple. Even when we had a little problem with the insurance, right? We wanted to use Bulgarian insurance, but it was taking a whole lot of time. I was like, okay, let's do this one. You didn't argue it. You didn't tell me, oh, why not this one? Oh, let's no. You're like, okay, let's just do what you need to do. And that's really made the whole thing very so easy and seamless. I'm really happy for you, and I guess we're gonna have a part two of this, definitely, right? And maybe after like 6 to 1 year, you're still gonna tell
That
us
would
your
be
experience so far. You missed the question, right? So you have to like answer the question later. Okay, so
great. By then
really,
I'll be rich enough to answer those questions.
yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be a great experience for you, right? I'm sure, really sure it's gonna be a great experience for you. So, thank you very much for sharing your experience. And if you are watching this, right, and you are also looking to study abroad, especially in Bulgaria, and you don't want to, go through the whole confusion and mistakes alone, please feel free to reach out, and we'll be able to guide you step by step, every step of the way through the entire process. And that is what we do at Gemini Minds. We assist, we do a whole lot of things for people, right? And for even though you want to do it yourself, we'll still be happy to assist you with the entire maybe review of your visa, your documentations, and all that. We can do it for you to ensure that you actually got what you needed, right? And if there is anywhere we'll help you or assist you, we'll let you know. Okay, so thank you again for watching, viewers, and we'll see you in the next video. And bye bye. Enjoy
Thank you.
yourself in Bulgaria. If you have some
And
things,
you too,
please
I'm
send
actually
it
going
to
to
us.
go. Definitely.